Conductor Lorin Maazel has led more than 150 orchestras in more than 5,000 opera and concert performances worldwide. He is now in his 7th year as music director of the New York Philharmonic. Maestro, you have had a long history with the Philharmonic, having made your conducting debut in 1942 at age 12. Decades later, you were once again at the helm. Was it destiny or hard work that brought you where you are today?
I think it's impossible to make any kind of career in any field without a great deal of hard work, a lot of preparation. Look at tennis players, how hard they work every day. Musicians and chess players and tennis players, not to mention mathematicians, show their talent at a very early age. You cannot possibly become a chess master, as Bobby Fischer was at the age of 13, unless you have this talent. You have the genius for it. That's certainly true in my field. So no musician whom you see on stage today could have accomplished what he accomplished without having shown at a very early age a talent for it. The difference is to show that talent publicly, that to be asked to perform publicly. And that was my case, and therefore I conducted the New York Philharmonic among many other orchestras in the United States while people were dying during the Second World War, and had what is known as a career as a child prodigy until the age of 15.
How did you know at that young age that that was what you wanted to do?
Well, I didn't know anything of the sort. As I said, I was a talented young musician. All musicians must be talented and show that talent at a very early age. I was no exception. But from my point of view, from my vantage point as a youngster, it was just another thing I did during the course of a day. And I gave very few concerts, only in the summer, 6 or 7 per year, so that I went to school like everybody else. And it was more or less the same to me, whether I went on a mushroom hunt or played center in the school football team, or shortstop, or tried to hit a home run, or conducted orchestras, all the same to me emotionally. Because for the child, he does what he does without any, what the French call arrière-pensée, without any questioning as to why he's there or why he's doing it. In short, I didn't see it at that time, my conducting, as something called for by destiny, like some destination. This was something for the adults to mull over and ponder. That certainly is not a child's thing. In short, my whole childhood passed in total tranquility, because conducting the orchestra was the same thing to me as riding my bike.
So if conducting didn't stand out from the rest of the activities as a child, at what point did it become serious?
Oh, much later, in my early 20s, because after having had so much fun as a young musician, conducting orchestras and learning how to play the violin, piano, and clarinet and trumpet and a lot of other instruments, and studying composition, I felt that there must be many other things out there that I hadn't had an opportunity to interact with, like literature, philosophy, history, languages. And so I went to the University of Pittsburgh, night school. I put myself through school, actually, worked during the day and went to school at night. But that work consisted of playing in an orchestra, because in order to earn a living, I had to have a job, and there was a vacancy in the Pittsburgh Symphony, where my parents lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And so I joined the orchestra, not for the purpose of widening my dimension as a musician, but for the purpose of earning money to put myself through school. Little did I know that those morning sessions would turn out to be decisive for me, because while thinking about Ortega y Gasset or Kierkegaard or whatever, playing Beethoven 5, I was playing a violin, which I actually played very well, under the direction of some of the most famous conductors of the day. And I was learning a great deal without noticing it. And these conductors were widening my musical horizon without my being aware of it. I wasn't focused on that, which made the experience all the more important.
Who was your role model?
Well, there were very many conductors whom I admired. Bruno Walter, Pierre Monteux, Fritz Reiner, Toscanini, of course, Furtwängler. But my role model was Victor de Sabata. I have a personal reason for that. In playing in the Pittsburgh Symphonies, I mentioned before, he was one of the major guest conductors, and I played something like 10 programs under his direction. And he introduced me to a repertoire that I later made my own, L'Enfant, Les Sortilèges of Ravel, and the Song of the Nightingale of Stravinsky, and many other works. And I admired him greatly. He was a remarkable human being, the finest musician I think I've ever encountered. He's a wonderful pianist and composer.
So what is it in your personality that makes you a good conductor?
There's something called timing, which cannot be described, but everyone knows what it means. You just do the right thing at the right moment, and you have to tune in to this musical instinct. And the musicians have to feel, who are following you, that the instinct that you're tuning into is functional, that there's a reason for it. And then also, each musician has his own way of making music, and he has a solo, whatever, he likes to express himself, likes to feel free to do so. So I try as hard as I can to incorporate a personal musical view into a larger structure. If I disagree fundamentally with a musical viewpoint entertained by an individual soloist, I will speak to him quietly about it, explain my reasons. But 9 times out of 10, if you're working with a great orchestra like the New York Philharmonic, what your first chair players have to offer is of the highest order. And what I love is the individuality of the expression, because incorporating that into a larger picture, the architectonics of it, you come up with a kaleidoscope of colors and phrasings which mesh very well because of this guiding hand of the conductor, who's thinking about timing and structure all along. And the result, I think, is extraordinary.